Welcome to the construction of the easy-to-assemble nursery wagon. Before you begin, unpack the contents of the shipment and inventory the parts. Refer to the instruction manual that shipped with your wagon. For the best results, assemble the wagon on a flat, level surface. To better align the wagon, do not fully tighten the nuts and bolts until the entire wagon is assembled. Begin the back wheel assembly by removing the lock nuts and large washers from the rear axle support. Slide left and right rear axle braces onto the axle of the rear axle support. The spacer of the axle brace must face away from the axle support. To complete the back assembly, slide one wheel, large washer, and lock nut in that order onto each of the axle and hand tighten. Do not completely tighten at this time. The next step is to assemble the front wheel assembly. Attach the steering link to the front axle support using two M13 by 18 shoulder bolts, M10 flat washers, and M10 lock nuts to secure the assembly. Turn the front axle support upside down and slide the yoke onto the stud welded to the underside of the top crossbar of the axle support. Secure in place using M11 flat washer and the cotter pin. The cotter pin is attached to the underside of the axle support. Next, align back hole of the yoke with steering link and hand tighten into place using one M13 by 18 shoulder bolt, M10 washer, and M10 lock nut. Attach one end of the front axle brace to the yoke and axle support using one M13 by 25 shoulder bolt, M10 flat washer, and M10 lock nut. After attaching the axle brace to the yoke, tighten all shoulder bolts using a socket wrench and pliers. To complete the front wheel assembly, slide one wheel, large washer, and lock nut in that order onto the end of the axle and tighten. Do not completely tighten at this time. With the front and back wheels assembled, place the wagon bed on a flat surface with the angled frame supports facing up. First, place the rear axle assembly on the wagon bed supports and align bolt holes. Insert bolts through the bed frame supports and rear axle support and secure using two M12 by 18 hex bolts, M12 flat washers, and M13 lock nuts. Align the holes of the rear axle braces, left and right, with holes on the wagon bed frame. Secure in place using two M10 by 20 hex bolts, M10 flat washers, and M10 lock nuts. Tighten bolts using a socket wrench and pliers. Next, align the holes from the front axle assembly with the three holes remaining on the wagon bed frame. Secure in place using three M12 by 18 hex bolts, M12 flat washers, and M13 lock nuts. Tighten bolts using a socket wrench and pliers. To complete the assembly, slide the handle coupler between ends of the yoke. Position the handle as desired and slide handle end into handle coupler. Align all holes. Insert M12 by 60 hex bolts through all three parts and secure with M12 flat washer and M13 lock nut. Tighten bolts using a socket wrench and pliers. Verify all connections are tight and turn wagon onto its wheels. Return to all wheel acorn nuts and tighten. Periodically check connections to make sure they are tight and secure. Enjoy your new nursery wagon, and if you have any questions or concerns, please contact our customer service department at 1-800-245-9881.